in Dubai in 2013, so 7 years ago. This was launched at an international conference in Dubai. And I want to share it with you. And over the next 45 minutes, 50 minutes, we'll go through it. We'll look at the 8 elements to it. We'll follow it through clockwise, examining and discussing the ideas it raises and see how it applies to our lives. So it's designed to be something that you can consult on a daily basis, or if you've got a project or a plan or something you want to do, you look at this diagram and say, right, have I considered all of these elements, these factors? How will my considering them help me be more effective in my journey to success? And it is a constant journey. So Dr. Datta, I'm going to probably rely on you here to give a yes or a no. In a moment, I'm going to try and get the diagram up so I can show everyone, and then we can start talking around it. Is that okay, Doctor?
Thank you, Mark. Yes, you go ahead.
Right, I'm going to see if I can share my screen. And I'm going to get Doctor to tell me whether you can see that or not.
Now we can see that, yes.
Right. So can everyone see the diagram that is on my screen?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Can you just let me know whether you can see it or not? Hopefully you'll all have been sent a copy of this diagram. If not,
Yes,
I
yes.
can ask Dr. Datta to send you a copy and some notes on how to use the diagram. But we're going to go through this in the course of the next 40 to 50 minutes. I'm going to explain how it works. I'm going to urge you to use it. You can ask me questions about how to utilize it. And hopefully we'll all be the little bit the wiser by the end of it. This diagram is called JOOS. J-O-O-S. JOOS. Now, if you have fruits, the thing that makes fruit special is its juice. We have a slang word in English for petrol, and that is juice. If your car runs out of juice, the car no longer goes. So this is called JOOS, and it stands for Jones's Octagon. An octagon is 8-sided. Jones's Octagon of success. Right. So in the middle of the diagram, you can see an individual. We would call them a tightrope walker. In life, all of us are walking a tightrope. All of us are walking a tightrope. And the higher we go up in life, the further off the ground we are. Do you all understand that? The higher you go up in an organization, or the more responsibility you have within a family, the more dangerous your situation is, the further you have to fall. Is that clear?
Yep.
Raise your hand.
Yes.
You understood that. Excellent. Thank you. So we're going to start with red. And in my part of the world, red means danger. Road signs in red in the UK are warning signs. So on this diagram, there is a warning sign, and that is at the top of the diagram itself. And what do we think this is about? It's about time. The one thing that is limited in all our lives is time. None of us knows how long we have in life. None of us knows exactly how long we will be around, how long we will be in a particular job for. Time has limitations. Even degree courses and programs of study have limitations. You can't go on forever and ever and ever studying a particular course, there are limitations. Every day has a limitation, 24 hours, and none of us can work solidly for 24 hours in a perfect state. So time is our number one consideration if we're thinking about success. Success in the planning, success in the preparation, success in the delivery, and the evaluation. So everything we do in life, we need to give thought to time, and we need to be warned about time, that the clock is ticking. What project, what objectives, what targets we have are all time bound. Whether they're driven by us as individuals, or whether they're influenced by other people, whether in our family, our relationships, or in the workplace, time is a constant factor. Managing time, using time, time in work, time out of work, time used wisely, time to relax, time to broaden our knowledge and become a more rounded individual. Time is the number one factor when it comes to success. And last week we talked about success being 99% work, 1% inspiration or perspiration. And time is crucial. So whatever you plan in life, you need to factor in. The number one consideration is, how much time do I give this? How much time can I give it? Depending on your other responsibilities. So am I going to achieve this within a day, a week, a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, a decade, 2 decades? How long have you got to get to your destination, your target, or to achieve the particular goal that you're working on? If you're training to become a doctor, it might be anything between 6 and 8 years and more, depending on specialisms. Or you're doing an MBA, it might be 1 year full-time, it might be 2 to 3 years part-time, depending on your commitments. Everything is time-bound, time-limited, and the way we use our time will decide on how successful you and I are. In the same way with our relationships, if we have partners, husbands, wives, our children, our relatives, how do we use our time with them? Are we giving those things sufficient amounts of time to be successful relationships? So time isn't just about success in the academic world or in the professional world. It's equally true of our personal relationships. We have to invest time in our relationships, in our friendships, for them to be meaningful and successful and to be stable too. Sadly, many a marriage has become unsuccessful because partners haven't given enough time to the relationship. And that is great sadness, that they pay the price for not giving enough time to the relationship. Same with studies. People fail their studies because they've not revised enough, they've not prepared enough, they've not been thorough enough. So time's our number one. And we ignore time at our peril. So please remember the red, remember time at the top, and keep that at the forefront of everything you do. How much time have I got? Can I squeeze some extra time? If not, how can I use my time wisely? Every one of us has 24 hours in the day. So I have no more advantage than you, all of you. We all have the same amount of time in the day, but of course we have other responsibilities, and that's where the variables lie. Those are factors that will impact on our success. So we have to be aware of that. Any questions about time? Any thoughts on that? Should be fairly straightforward if I think about it. Good. Well, the next one, which I put in grey, the next one round if we go clockwise, is tools and equipment. All of us today are utilizing computers. Without these computers, whether they're laptops or whatever, we would not be able to Zoom today. It would not be possible. We need to have the right tools and equipment for the job. They can be physical tools, or they can be skills and aptitudes. To be a great athlete in life, there are certain physical aptitudes you need to have, as well as the equipment, as well as the trainers and the training gear and the training facilities, the gym equipment and things of that nature. So when you're beginning a journey for success, you need to give thought to the tools and equipment you are going to need at the beginning, partway through, and towards the finish. And they may vary. If you're asking people in your company to do a certain job and you've not equipped them, if you've not given them the tools and the facilities that they need, don't be surprised if the job is not successfully done. So tools and equipment is pivotal. A lot of people find that they are disadvantaged by not being in an optimum environment. They don't have the right equipment, they don't have the right tools, they don't have the right aptitudes that go with that route to success. And sometimes we have to compromise, partly because of finances. We can't all have the very finest equipment straight away. Sometimes we have to improvise. Sometimes we have to make do and mend, especially in challenging times, like this time of the coronavirus, when maybe we can't access certain things which 4 months ago we could have accessed. So what do we do in those circumstances? 4 months ago, in our own countries, wherever we are, it would have been very easy to meet up. And what's happened with the coronavirus is we've improvised as a world, and now we're meeting up in cyberspace. But we still need certain tools. Depending on what your success goal is, will decide on what tools you need to have. Do you own those tools? Do you have to hire them? Do you have to ask permission for them? What are they? What do they cost? How long can you have them? These are all factors that will influence how successful your project or objective is going to be. And there are variables here. We are not the masters of our destiny. We need to think carefully, what do I need? If I'm going to climb Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, what do I need to climb Mount Everest? I'm going to need certain physical tools, but I'm also going to need certain aptitudes, certain preparation, which is going to help me use those tools. We don't just pick up the tool on the day and start that day. We have to prepare in advance so that we've got experience with those tools, so that we're practiced at using those tools. Whether that's learning to touch type or to use Microsoft Word there can be many, many skills that we need to take on board to help us master certain tools and equipment. Even climbing Mount Everest, I probably would not do it alone. I would rely on guides to take me part of the way, or I might well go up in a party of others for my own safety. So we've got other factors we have to bear in mind. So whatever your goal is in life, whatever you're trying to be successful at, you've got to start thinking, what are the tools and equipment I need? In a marriage or a relationship, that may well be a dwelling, a flat, a house, an apartment you're wanting to get together, to get a mortgage, to equip, and so on. If you're starting a company together, what tools are you going to pull together? What assets do you have that you can put together to utilize to get the business off the ground? And what is the understanding around the ownership of those assets? These are all very important factors. So whatever you plan to do in life, start with that. You start with time, and then you say, right, what tools and equipment do I need to achieve this? If I was baking a cake, what would I need for that particular cake? I wouldn't just need the ingredients, I would need the oven, I would need the kitchen, the utensils and the equipment, the baking tray, and so on. There are so many elements that I would need to include. So equipment is very important, and this is just as true of our private lives as it is of our professional lives. So dwell on that, explore that. Don't just think about it once as a one-off. Reflect on it at various stages during your project. If your project is going to take 6 months, revisit JOOS every week, maybe even every day, to just do a checkup on each element to make sure these factors are in place. Your job is to focus on these 8. Keep these 8 in front of you. I have a friend of mine in Norway, and he is the deputy mayor of a Norwegian city, and he keeps JOOS on his desk in front of him and refers to it every single day. Whatever his objectives are for the day ahead and the week ahead, he looks at JOOS and actually says, I need to take these considerations in mind, in hand, before I take the next step, or that we plan ahead. It's all should be integral to our daily planning, our weekly planning, and so on. Now, the green segment, I think, is one of the most fascinating.